Java. Okay. So now, when it comes to the Java language, see here, just it's like the history of Java language. So what we see here, say it took 18 months to develop the first working version. Okay, so when they started Java language, so it took 18 months to develop first working version of the Java. See, interesting thing about this Java language is, for Java language, I think you people might have noticed the coffee symbol is there. Okay, one of our lecturers said, like when I was studying engineering in CS branch, and I was going for Java class, he said like why they have kept a coffee symbol. It seems like actually before Java, so before Java language there was C and C++. Okay, C language was pure procedure oriented, C++ was pure sorry, C++ it is mixture of both procedure oriented and object oriented. Say, so they wanted a language which should use total object oriented. Okay. So when Java was introduced, like after writing the programs in C and C++, programmers got very much bore of it. Like procedure oriented means there will be some method. We have to follow that particular method only. We should not violate those methods. Like if we sometimes we will be saying these days we are doing routine work. The routine meaning is nothing change in the work. Okay, or daily doing at the same time same work. If we are doing, we say routine work. There will be nothing change. We will not get somewhat interest. Okay, we may get bored of it. So when Java language was introduced, it was like, see, after a long hours of work, or if we are exhausted, if we drink tea or coffee, okay, so how we feel? We feel somewhat relaxed. So that much relaxation was there for programmers. So they have kept the coffee symbol. So this was, I don't know whether the story is real or not, but we can think like that. So when you move with the Java language, you will come to know how it is different from C and C++ and how it is interesting when compared to C and C++. Okay. So it took 18 months to develop first working version. This language was initially called OAK. But was renamed as Java in 1995. So another thing which forced to develop Java was World Wide Web of Internet. See, this is very important. Internet concept was there in minds of programmers, but language was not there. So when Java was introduced, okay, so internet concept was become very much easy. See, nowadays we have HTML language, okay, many tools are there, right? Okay, so when what it forced to develop Java was internet concept. So www, because in C and C++, internet concept was not achieved. Okay, internet programs or applications related to websites, it was not developed in C and C++ language. But whereas in Java, we have three versions: one with standalone, another with enterprise, another with mobile edition. So in enterprise edition, internet concept is there. Okay, so Java was not designed to replace C++. See, these things we have to understand when we learn computer science subjects, especially programming languages. These things we have to understand, because some people say like, yes, C++ is developed, so C is outdated. Java is developed, C++ is outdated. Nothing like that. Okay, each language has its own applications. Even today, C language is there in market. C++ is there. Some companies will do projects on C language. Some companies will do projects on C++. Some more companies will do projects on Java language and Python language. Okay. So they are telling Java was not designed to replace C++. See, one more thing I want to tell is like, uh, just a minute. See, there is a person, or we can say author by name Herbert Schild. I don't know, you people might have heard about this person. So he has given many books, okay, for C language, C++, Java, Python, SQL, and all. So those books name starts with the complete reference. Okay. Okay, I think in tomorrow's class I will show that book as a picture. So So it is available in Amazon, Flipkart, and all. People can purchase. See, whatever the things I have extracted from this book. Complete reference in Java or complete reference in C++, C language. Okay, so this is the person, author name, Herbert Schill. So this person said that, like, Java was not designed to replace C++. From this, what we can understand is C++ has its own applications. Even C language has its own applications. Okay, next. Okay, Java's magic. See why they are telling it as magic means when we execute C++ programs, okay, I think you people know the execution process of C and C++, okay. There we come across the compiler concept, okay. If you people have not remembered, I will tell you, okay. Compiler concept, compiler meaning which translates the source program to object program, because computer will understand only object program, that is a byte code, we can say. Binary language it can understand, that is computer. So compiler will translate C program or a C++ program to an object program, okay. But in case of Java, what happens, if we use only compiler, we cannot get the output. Okay, we have to use two things: compiler plus interpreter. Okay, there are two translator softwares, compiler and interpreter. Okay, compiler will translate source program to object program. Even interpreter will translate source program to object program. There are some differences. Okay, later I will tell you what are the differences. But here, for a Java program, we require two things: compiler plus interpreter. So output of Java compiler is not an executable code. Okay. See why they're telling this sentence is like, when we execute C or C++ program, what happens? See, for example, if I consider, okay, like welcome.c language. So if we give the extension as .c, it is C language. So when this program is executed by using compiler, okay, compiler will give executable code here. Executable code in the sense we get welcome.exe, executable code. Okay. Even for C++ also. So welcome.cpp. Okay. So for this also we use the compiler. For this also we get the executable code. That means after this it will be executed directly. Okay. C program or C++ program is given for the compiler. So compiler will give the executable code. That executable code is executed directly. But for Java, what happens if we consider the program? So welcome.java. Okay, welcome.java. When I give this program, when I supply this program for the compiler, so it will not give the executable code. Here it will give the byte code. So this is the difference between executing C and C++ and Java. This byte code again I have to give for the interpreter. Okay. So this point you have to remember. I have to give for the interpreter. Then I get the output. Okay. So I will tell you how to execute Java programs and what happens in between. So just you remember this point. So Java program is a source program. So it is given for the compiler, which will translate from source program to object program. We get the byte code, that is the output of the compiler. Okay, we can say dot class file. It is called as a dot class file. Then that file is given for an interpreter. Finally, we get the output. So this is the procedure. So source program given to compiler, output of compiler will be byte code, and this byte code we have to supply for the interpreter. Finally, we get the output. So welcome.java, this is .java file. When byte code is generated, we get welcome.class file we get. Just remember, so in programs you will come to in detail, you will come to know. Okay, let us not worry. So .java is the source program. Welcome.class is the byte code of the compiler. This by using this .class file, so we supply for the interpreter, we get the output. Just a minute. Okay, fine. Sorry for the interruption. So, .java file, this is the source file. Okay, it is sent for the compiler. Output of the compiler will be the bytecode. So that the bytecode is nothing but the dot class file. Okay, then it is supplied for the interpreter. So output of the interpreter will be the actual output what we will expect. Okay, so only here it is called as bytecode, because in C and C++ this facility is not there. That means once program is executed, that is by using compiler, so that is the final executable file. So but in Java it is not executable file, it is the bytecode. So output of a Java compiler is not executable code, it is a bytecode. Bytecode is interpreted. See, two steps are there here. So this we have to remember, two steps: compilation, interpretation. Remember, compilation, interpretation. Compilation means compiler will take care. Compiler is a software, that is a translator software which will translate source program to bytecode. Interpreter is also a translator software which will translate, that means which will execute this bytecode. Okay, so bytecode is interpreted by Java runtime system called Java Virtual Machine. So this is the software which is present in Java. So that is Java Virtual Machine, JVM, we will call it as JVM. See, in interview, they will ask these basic questions. What is the interpreter present in Java language? Or what is the name of the software which is present in Java language? That is where bytecode is interpreted. So we have to tell the answer, JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So Java Virtual Machine is called as an interpreter for bytecode. So clearly it says it is an interpreter for bytecode. So once again, I will tell you. So two steps are there: compilation, interpretation. So compiler will convert source program to bytecode. So bytecode is supplied for interpreter. Interpreter will give the output for us. That interpreter name is nothing but the Java Virtual Machine. Okay. So just for a few seconds, I will stop. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay. So features are nothing but characteristics, we can say characteristics or properties of Java. Okay. Okay. So features of Java. So if you know C++ or if you are a C++ programmer, you can learn Java easily. So here, what they're telling, if you know C++ or if you're a C++ programmer, you can learn Java easily. Why they have mentioned this sentence? See, these sentences I have not written, like I have not invented or discovered these sentences. Herbert Schild, famous author, he has written these sentences. See, he is the person who is one of the committee member of the C++ developers. So I have chosen that author. Okay. When C++ was invented, after invention of C++, when they have started like inventing, like discovering many versions of C++, so he is one of the committee member. Okay, so in 1983, the standard C++ came into market. So I preferred this author. So he is saying, like, if you know C++ or if you are a C++ programmer, you can learn Java easily, because OOP concept is already present in C++. So if we know OOP concept, that is object oriented programming concept, in C++ itself, then learning Java will become very easy. So because Java inherits C and C++ syntax, see, most of the things in C language, like if condition, if else, while loop, for loop, these things we will come across in Java. In addition to that, in C++, classes and objects, inheritance, these things will come across in Java. So it inherits C++ syntax and many of the object-oriented features of C++. So one who is interested to learn Java, once again, I'm telling, for those people, please learn C and C++, then go for Java. It feels very easy to learn Java. Without learning C and C++, if we go for Java, somewhere we may get stuck or we may get bored, we may lose interest to learn Java. Okay. So once we are familiar with C and C++, we can learn Java very easily. That too in C++ object-oriented features. Okay, object-oriented concept. Okay, so if you have already understood the basic concepts of object-oriented programming, learning Java is very easy. So again, the same sentence, that is from C language we have to learn some concept, from C++ object-oriented concept we have to learn, then Java becomes easy. Okay. Then coming to the object oriented, see, this is one of the concept. It is object oriented is concept. So in for this, like we have one more concept called as procedure oriented. Okay, we have the concept called as procedure oriented. Okay, we have two things, procedure oriented and object oriented. So now Java is object oriented. Okay, we will see what is that property. So Java is an everything is an object concept, so it is called pure object oriented language. Pure in the sense we can say 99%. Okay, everything is on object means whatever you see in real world, it is considered as object. Living things, non-living things, or anything like any abstract thing which has some meaning, that is also considered as an object. So the what we can say is like Java is an everything is an object concept. For example, you see string s is equals to Java. This is a simple sentence. What is this sentence? We are assigning the word Java, the letters JAVA, the string, to s variable. Here s is a variable, the letters JAVA we are assigning. So here s is an object, so string is a class. See, in C++, there is a chapter called classes and objects. Okay, in classes and objects, if we write this format, this format of sentence, so string here, the word string will be called as class, s will be called as an object. So that only they are telling, s is an object, string is a class. In this way Java works. That means whatever we write in the programs, we write within a class and we make use of the objects. So we are making use of classes and objects in entire Java language. So only it is called as everything is an object concept. Then for some things they have not said as it is an object. What is that? So this sentence we have to say. Here integers are kept as non-objects, that is primitive data type or basic data type. Example, int a is equals to 10. Here int is not an object. Remember, int is not an object. It is a basic type. So in data types, we have three: basic types, derived types, user-defined types. Basic types are not objects. Remember, basic types are not objects. So basic types are like int, float. Let me explain a little bit. Okay. So if we consider the data types concept, we have basic, okay, derived, user-defined. So coming to the basic types, so we have int, float, okay, char, character, double, void, and in C++ recently it is added like boolean. Okay, so these things they are not telling these are the objects. In some cases we can consider character, because character is a string, character array we can consider. So in Java directly they are using the object class called as char. Now they are speaking about int, that is data type int. Int is not an object. So for some things they have kept as non-objects only. If it is non-objects, if it is not an object, then we can say it is procedure oriented. So only we can say 99% object oriented. Okay. So integers are kept as non-objects, that is primitive types. Always we can consider like there are basic types. Basic or primitive means which comes with the software. Derived means which are derived from basic. User-defined means created by the user. That is one who uses that software, one who writes the program on that language. Okay, that is user-defined. Primitive or basic means one with comes with the software itself. Okay, that we cannot change the meaning or whatever it is. Only we have to use it. So int is a basic type. So it is kept as non-object. Okay. Next property of Java is robust. Okay. See, sometimes in interview for simple questions they may ask, just explain one property of Java, or what is the meaning of robust property or feature in Java? Can you explain like that, so that we can answer for those questions. Robust meaning powerful, able to withstand in difficult condition. So So we should know what is a difficult condition. So here the difficult condition is memory management and mishandled exceptions. Okay, exceptional conditions. When we write a programs, when we develop a software, we have to concentrate on these things: memory management and errors. So in programming language, we have two types of errors: syntax errors and semantic errors. Okay, so let me explain about that a little bit. Okay, so that you will get an idea. So errors are of two types. So one first type of error is we can consider syntax error. So syntax error means like making mistake in the grammar, because this is a language, right? So whenever we consider the language, we should follow some grammar rules we have to follow. So syntax error means making mistakes in the grammar. Like one example I will give you. Like if I write the sentence, what is your name? See, according to the logic, it is correct. So anyone can understand. So this sentence can understand what is your name. But if I don't put the question mark, grammatically it is not correct. Okay, logically it is correct. Grammatically it's not correct. So we can say there is a error here. If I put full stop also it is error, because I should put question mark here. So if I put question mark, syntactically it is correct. That is grammatically it is correct. So now if I don't put question mark or full stop, sorry, if I don't put question mark, then we can say there is a syntax error. Okay. Now coming to the second type of error, that is runtime error. So runtime error is nothing but logical error. Okay, we can say logical error. Grammatically it may be correct, but logically it will be wrong. Like same sentence, if I write what is name and put question mark. See, grammatically it is correct. There is no mistake. So first letter I have used as a capital starting sentence, and after the end of sentence I have put the question mark because it is a question. What is a name? What is name? But here we cannot understand this question because in between something is missing. What is name means what? What is your name, or what is his name? What is this object name? What is this place name? I have to mention something here. Okay, so there is a mistake. That is logically there is a mistake. So we cannot understand this question. What is name? So here grammatically it is correct, but logically it is wrong. These type of errors are called as logical errors. And in Java, these type of errors are called as exceptions. So remember this point. These type of errors are called as exceptions. Exceptional handling chapter itself is there. On this particular error, that is logical error, there is a chapter called as exceptional handling. There we come to know how to handle these type of errors. In C++ also it is there. Try and catch statements are there, exception handling, but in Java it is best explained. Okay, so we will see there in that chapter. Okay, so we came to know that it is the most powerful language because memory management is done and also handling exception. That is, exception means runtime errors. Okay, so memory management is well done by using garbage collection concept. So the meaning of this is garbage collection means deallocation of unused objects and free the memory for future use. See why this is required means like just I will tell you. See, sometimes what happens, if suppose I declare one array, let me consider int a of 10. Okay, I declare one array. Now I have mentioned the size as 10. It is one-dimensional array. I have mentioned the size as 10. But when I execute the program, if I give 5 values, okay, if I give only 5 values, remaining 5 locations will be wasted. So this is called static memory. Okay, static memory means before the program is executed, memory will be allocated. Before the program is executed, memory will be allocated. I hope you people remember the concept of this array in C language. So I'm going further. Okay, so I have given the size 10, but if I give only 5 values, remaining 5 locations will be wasted. So this is what we can say is we have not managed the memory properly. So we have not managed the memory properly. So in Java, there is a concept called as garbage collection. Okay. In interview, 100% question it is. What is garbage collection? Garbage collection means If suppose if there is a chance of wastage of memory, that memory will be given to the other program or other users. That memory will not be wasted. That is the concept of garbage collection. So we will see the definition. Okay, so garbage collection means deallocation of unused objects and frees the memory for future use. Here they are not saying unused variables, because I have used variables. Here we have to speak in terms of classes and objects only. We have to speak in terms of objects only. In Java, everything is an object concept, so we have to speak in terms of object. Okay, so garbage collection means deallocation of unused objects and frees the memory for further use. Further use means by other program or by other programmer. Okay, exceptional handling is done by using Java, using object oriented exception handling concept, that is try and catch statements. See, exceptional handling chapter is there. There we will discuss in detail how we can handle exception, that is runtime errors.